Aviation thermobaric bomb of increased power, nicknamed Father of All Bombs, is a Russian-designed, bomber-delivered thermobaric weapon. The bomb is reportedly similar to the U.S. military's GBU-43/B massive ordnance air blast, which is often unofficially called Mother of All Bombs, derived from its official military acronym MOAB. This weapon would therefore be the most powerful conventional weapon in the world. However, the veracity of Russia's claims concerning the weapon's size and power have been questioned by U.S. defense analysts. FOAB was successfully field-tested in the late evening of September 11, 2007. The new weapon is to replace several smaller types of nuclear bombs in the Russian arsenal. Terminology. The term thermobaric is derived from the Greek words for heat and pressure, thermobarikos, from thermos hot plus baros weight, pressure, and suffix ekos ic. Other terms used for the family of weapons are high-impulse thermobaric weapons, heat and pressure weapons, vacuum bombs, and fuel-air explosives. Mechanism. Demonstration of an open-air dust explosion. Most conventional explosives consist of a fuel oxidizer premix, but thermobaric weapons consist only of fuel and as a result are significantly more energetic than conventional explosives of equal weight. Their reliance on atmospheric oxygen makes them unsuitable for use underwater, at high altitude, and in adverse weather. They are, however, considerably more effective when used in enclosed spaces such as tunnels, buildings, and non-hermetically sealed field fortifications. The initial explosive charge detonates as it hits its target, opening the container and dispersing the fuel mixture as a cloud. The typical blast wave of a thermobaric weapon lasts significantly longer than that of a conventional explosive. In contrast to an explosive which uses oxidation in a confined region to produce a blast front emanating from a single source, a thermobaric flame front accelerates to a large volume, which produces pressure fronts within the mixture of fuel and oxidant and then also in the surrounding air. Thermobaric explosives apply the principles underlying accidental unconfined vapor cloud explosions, which include those from dispersions of flammable dusts and droplets. Such dust explosions happened most often in flour mills and their storage containers, and later in coal mines, prior to the 20th century. Accidental unconfined vapor cloud explosions now happen most often in partially or completely empty oil tankers, refinery tanks, and vessels, such as the Buncefield fire in the United Kingdom in 2005, where the blast wave woke people 150 kilometers from its center. A typical weapon consists of a container packed with a fuel substance, the center of which has a small conventional explosive scatter charge. Fuels are chosen on the basis of the exothermicity of their oxidation, ranging from powdered metals, such as aluminum or magnesium, to organic materials, possibly with a self-contained partial oxidant. The most recent development involves the use of nanofuels. A thermobaric bomb's effective yield depends on a combination of a number of factors like how well the fuel is dispersed, how rapidly it mixes with the surrounding atmosphere, and the initiation of the igniter and its position relative to the container of fuel. In some designs, strong munitions cases allow the blast pressure to be contained long enough for the fuel to be heated well above its auto-ignition temperature so that once the container bursts, the superheated fuel auto-ignites progressively as it comes into contact with atmospheric oxygen. Conventional upper and lower limits of flammability apply to such weapons. Close-in, blast from the dispersal charge, compressing and heating the surrounding atmosphere, has some influence on the lower limit. The upper limit has been demonstrated to influence the ignition of fogs above pools of oil strongly. That weakness may be eliminated by designs in which the fuel is preheated well above its ignition temperatures so that its cooling during its dispersion still results in a minimal ignition delay on mixing. The continual combustion of the outer layer of fuel molecules, as they come into contact with the air, generates added heat which maintains the temperature of the interior of the fireball, and thus sustains the detonation. In confinement, a series of reflective shock waves is generated, which maintain the fireball and can extend its duration to between 10 and 50 milliseconds as exothermic recombination reactions occur. Further damage can result as the gases cool and pressure drops sharply, leading to a partial vacuum. This rarefaction effect has given rise to the misnomer vacuum bomb. Piston type after burning is also believed to occur in such structures, as flame fronts accelerate through it. Fuel-air explosive. A fuel-air explosive device consists of a container of fuel and two separate explosive charges. After the munition is dropped or fired, the first explosive charge bursts open the container at a predetermined height and disperses the fuel in a cloud that mixes with atmospheric oxygen. The cloud of fuel flows around objects and into structures. The second charge then detonates the cloud and creates a massive blast wave. The blast wave can destroy reinforced buildings, equipment, and kill or injure people. The antipersonnel effect of the blast wave is more severe in foxholes and tunnels and in enclosed spaces, such as bunkers and caves. Effects. Development. German. The first attempts occurred during the First World War when incendiary shells used a slow but intense burning material, such as tar-impregnated tissue and gunpowder dust. These shells burned for approximately 2 minutes after the shell exploded and spread the burning elements in every direction. In World War II, the German Wehrmacht attempted to develop a vacuum bomb under the direction of the Austrian physicist Mario Zippermayer. United States. Phase were developed by the United States for use in the Vietnam War. The CBU-55 Faye fuel-air cluster bomb was mostly developed by the U.S. Naval Weapons Center at China Lake, California. Current American Faye munitions include the following: Blue 73 Faye I, Blue 95 500 pounds, Blue 96 2,000 pounds, CBU-72 Faye I, AGM-114 Hellfire missile, XM-1060 grenade. SMO-NE round for rocket launcher. The XM-1060 40mm grenade is a small arms thermobaric device, which was delivered to U.S. forces in April 2003. Since the 2003 invasion of Iraq, the U.S. Marine Corps has introduced a thermobaric novel explosive round for the Mk-153 SMO rocket launcher. One team of Marines reported that they had destroyed a large one-story masonry-type building with one round from 100 yards. The AGM-114N Hellfire II uses a metal-augmented charge warhead, which contains a thermobaric explosive fill that uses aluminum powder coated or mixed with PTFE layered between the charge casing and a PBXN-112 explosive mixture. When the PBXN-112 detonates, the aluminum mixture is dispersed and rapidly burns. The result is a sustained high pressure that is extremely effective against people and structures. Soviet, later Russian. Following phase developed by the United States for use in the Vietnam War, Soviet Union scientists quickly developed their own Faye weapons. Since Afghanistan, research and development has continued, and Russian forces now field a wide array of third-generation Faye warheads, such as the RPOA. The Russian armed forces have developed thermobaric ammunition variants for several of their weapons, such as the TBG-7V thermobaric grenade with a lethality radius of 10 m, which can be launched from a rocket-propelled grenade RPG-7. The GM-94 is a 43 mm pump-action grenade launcher designed mainly to fire thermobaric grenades for close combat. The grenade weighed 250 grams and contained 160 grams of explosive. Its lethality radius is 3 m, but due to the deliberate fragmentation-free design of the grenade, a distance of 4 m is considered safe. The RPOA and upgraded RPOM are infantry portable rocket-propelled grenades, designed to fire thermobaric rockets. The RPOM, for instance, has a thermobaric warhead with a TNT equivalence of 5.5 kilograms and destructive capabilities similar to a 152 mm high explosive fragmentation artillery shell. The RSHG-1 and the RSHG-2 are thermobaric variants of the RPG-27 and RPG-26 respectively. The RSHG-1 is the more powerful variant, with its warhead having a 10-meter lethality radius and producing about the same effect as 6 kilograms of TNT. The RMG is a further derivative of the RPG-26 that uses a tandem charge warhead, with the precursor high-explosive anti-tank warhead blasting an opening for the main thermobaric charge to enter and detonate inside. The RMG's precursor heat warhead can penetrate 300 mm of reinforced concrete or over 100 mm of rolled homogeneous armor, thus allowing the 105 mm diameter thermobaric warhead to detonate inside. Other examples include the semi-automatic command to line of sight or millimeter wave active radar homing guided thermobaric variants of the 9M123 Chrysanthema, the 9M133F1 thermobaric warhead variant of the 9M133 Cornet, and the 9M131F thermobaric warhead variant of the 9K115-2 Métis M, all of which are anti-tank missiles. The Cornet has since been upgraded to the Cornet M, and its thermobaric variant has a maximum range of 10 km and has a TNT equivalence of 7 kg. The 300 mm 9 minutes and 55 seconds thermobaric cluster warhead rocket was built to be fired from the BM-30 Smerch MLRS. A dedicated carrier of thermobaric weapons is the purpose-built TOS-1, a 24-tube MLRS designed to fire 220 mm thermobaric rockets. A full salvo from the TOS-1 will cover a rectangle 200 by 400 m. The Iskander-M theater ballistic missile can also carry a 700 kg thermobaric warhead. Many Russian Air Force munitions also have thermobaric variants. The 80 mm S-8 rocket has the S-8DM and S-8DF thermobaric variants. The S-8's 122 mm brother, the S-13, has the S-13D and S-13DF thermobaric variants. The S-13DF's warhead weighs only 32 kg, but its power is equivalent to 40 kg of TNT. The CAB 500OD variant of the CAB 500KR has a 250 kg thermobaric warhead. The ODAB 500PM and ODAB 500PMV unguided bombs carry a 190 kg fuel-air explosive each. The CAB 1500's GLONASS/GPS guided 1,500 kg bomb also has a thermobaric variant. Its fireball will cover a 150 m radius and its lethal zone is a 500 m radius. The 9M120 Ataka V and the 9K114 Sturm ATGMs both have thermobaric variants. In September 2007, Russia exploded the largest thermobaric weapon ever made, and claimed that its yield was equivalent to that of a nuclear weapon. Russia named this particular ordnance the father of all bombs in response to the American-developed massive ordnance air blast bomb, which has the backronym Mother of All Bombs and once held the title of the most powerful non-nuclear weapon in history. The Russian bomb contains a charge of approximately 7 tons of a liquid fuel, such as pressurized ethylene oxide, mixed with energy-rich nanoparticles, such as aluminum, surrounding a high explosive burster that when detonated created an explosion equivalent to 39.9 tons of TNT. Spanish. In 1983, a program of military research was launched with collaboration between the Spanish Ministry of Defense, Explosives Alaveses, and Explosives Rio Tinto with the goal of developing a Spanish version of a thermobaric bomb, the Beach. A prototype was tested successfully in a foreign location out of safety and confidentiality concerns. The Spanish Air and Space Force has an undetermined number of beaches in its inventory. Chinese. In 1996, the People's Liberation Army began development of the PF-97, a portable thermobaric rocket launcher, based on the Soviet RPO Ashmol. Introduced in 2000, it is reported to weigh 3.5 kilograms and contains 2.1 kilograms of thermobaric filler. An improved version called the PF-97A was introduced in 2008. China is reported to have other thermobaric weapons, including bombs, grenades, and rockets. Research continues on thermobaric weapons capable of reaching 2,500 degrees. Indian. Based on the high-explosive squash head round, a 120 mm thermobaric round was developed by the Indian Ministry of Defence, which packed thermobaric explosives into the tank shells to increase the effectiveness against enemy bunkers and light armoured vehicles. The design and the development of the round was taken up by Armament Research and Development Establishment. The rounds were designed for the Arjun MBT. The TB rounds contains fuel-rich explosive composition called thermobaric explosive. As the name implies, the shells, when they hit a target, produce blast overpressure and heat energy for hundreds of milliseconds. The overpressure and heat causes damage to enemy fortified structures like bunkers and buildings and for soft targets like enemy personnel and light armoured vehicles. British. In 2009, the British Ministry of Defence acknowledged that Army Air Corps Augusta-Westland Apaches had used AGM-114 Hellfire missiles purchased from the United States against Taliban forces in Afghanistan. The MOD stated that 20 missiles, described as blast fragmentation warheads, were used in 2008 and a further 20 in 2009. MOD officials told Guardian journalist Richard Norton-Taylor that the missiles were particularly designed to take down structures and kill everyone in the buildings, as AAC Augusta-Westland Apaches were previously equipped with weapon systems deemed ineffective to combat the Taliban. The MOD also stated that British pilots' rules of engagement were strict and everything a pilot sees from the cockpit is recorded. In 2018, the MOD accidentally divulged the details of General Atomics MQ-9 Reapers utilized by the Royal Air Force during the Syrian Civil War, which revealed that the drones were equipped with AGM-114 Hellfire missiles. The MOD had sent a report to a British publication, Drone Wars, in response to a Freedom of Information request. In the report, it was stated that AGM-114 and Hellfire missiles which contained a thermobaric warhead were used by RAF attack drones in Syria. History. Military use. United States. Phase were developed by the United States for use in the Vietnam War. The CBU-55 Faye Fuel Air Cluster Bomb was mostly developed by the U.S. Naval Weapons Center at China Lake, California. Current American Faye munitions include the following: Blue 73 Faye I, Blue 95 500 pounds, Blue 96 2000 pounds, CBU 72 Faye I, AGM-114 Hellfire missile, XM-1060 grenade. SMAUNI round for rocket launcher. The XM-1060 40mm grenade is a small arms thermobaric device, which was delivered to U.S. forces in April 2003. Since the 2003 invasion of Iraq, the U.S. Marine Corps has introduced a thermobaric novel explosive round for the Mk-153 small rocket launcher. One team of Marines reported that they had destroyed a large one-story masonry-type building with one round from 100 yards. The AGM-114 and Hellfire II uses a metal-augmented charge warhead, which contains a thermobaric explosive fill that uses aluminum powder coated or mixed with PTFE layered between the charge casing and a PBXN-112 explosive mixture. When the PBXN-112 detonates, the aluminum mixture is dispersed and rapidly burns. The result is a sustained high pressure that is extremely effective against people and structures. Soviet Union and Russia. United Kingdom. Syria. Non-state actor use. Thermobaric and fuel air explosives have been used in guerrilla warfare since the 1983 Beirut barracks bombing in Lebanon, which used a gas-enhanced explosive mechanism that was probably propane, butane, or acetylene. The explosive used by the bombers in the U.S. 1993 World Trade Center bombing incorporated the FAE principle by using 3 tanks of bottled hydrogen gas to enhance the blast. Jemaah Islamiyah bombers used a shock-dispersed solid fuel charge, based on the Thermobaric principle, to attack the Sari nightclub during the 2002 Bali bombings.